2025 for me was defined by series more than individual games. Last year I said Resident Evil 2 Remake is the scariest game I ever played. Since then I've beaten Silent Hill 3 and played every mainline entry in the Resident Evil series. I say all that to say, Resident Evil 2 Remake has a lot of competition, with most of them being Resident Evil itself. So to circumvent 60% of the list being Resident Evil, I've decided to limit entries here to one entry per franchise. After all, this video is for the best of the best, not for an entire franchise and genre I'm most obsessed about. And with that out of the way, the entry in the Resident Evil franchise that makes my personal game of the year is Resident Evil Remake. I have not stopped thinking about the Resident Evil Remake since I beat it, wishing there were more games like this. It's a true anomaly that also defined an entire standard to the degree games are still playing catch up with what this game managed to do over 20 years ago. I have long been jaded on horror games, and it takes a lot for me to feel actual fear. In this game, the zombies hurt, the camera hates you, your handgun sucks, and evading zombies is usually your best play. You aren't an empowered badass until you learn how to navigate the mansion and get God gifts itself, the shotgun, and then the grenade launcher, only for the game to ramp up the threat the moment you get too comfortable. Resident Evil Remake is survival horror perfection, part campy comedy masterpiece, part horror masterclass, completely beautiful, ethereal environments, and brilliant music, and this is the good part, no yellow tape. Resident Evil is a game that rewards you for thinking for yourself or punishes you for not thinking enough. It is the litmus test for gamers, and that is more than deserving the crown of the very best survival horror has to offer. Dark Souls 2 gets a bad reputation for being a sequel to the universally praised game in Dark Souls 1, to the extent that a lot of its positives are sanded over to make room for discontent with other things. Yes, the game has a lot of enemies, yes, the hitbox at times are wonky, but no, it is not a bad game, and as much as I love DS1, its faults are often ignored because of its cult status. If you're honest, the second half of the game is atrocious. The game has more bad bosses than it has good ones, and if not, they are definitely in tight contention. And for me, bosses are a big part of the reasons I even play these games, and if DS2 does anything, it's a lot of bosses. And the majority rank from decent to great. Looking Last Night, Sir Alan, Fume Knight, Pursuer, Velstadt. This game is very night-coded. And as a Soulsborne fan that enjoys one-on-one duels with enemies on a similar stature, this game's bosses felt built for me. For me, Dark Souls 3 is the best in the franchise undoubtedly. But a number 2 isn't that easy of a pick for me, because Dark Souls 2 is damn good. Most people's favorite Metal Gear Solid tends to be 3, and while I have played 1 through 3, it is Metal Gear Solid 2 that is my favorite game of the series so far for me. MGS 1 showed us what was possible. MGS 3 was a cheeky, fun movie, but MGS 2 has one of the greatest stories I have ever played. It is the most immersive, batshit insane, and emotional work I have ever experienced. It looks damn good for a PS2 game with so many iconic set pieces I find incredibly cool. A dark rainy night, a setting sun with crashing waves, and cinematics with blockbuster action, and music that pulls you in even more for whatever direction the game is pulling you toward, going from stealthily taking out enemies to mad dashes to save the fate of the world. And the fate of the world never felt so interesting in a game for me. This isn't about nuking the world to oblivion and ending humanity as we know it. It's a deeply political tale about the utilization of advancing technology and how corruptible something like that is. Whether that be from the people who wish harm on others or from the people who are meant to protect its citizens. When good games do one thing great, it helps you be interested in other parts that stand out less. But when a great game excels in every metric imaginable, you get Metal Gear Solid 2. Claire Expedition 33 swept this year's awards, and most people fell in one to two camps. One side said rightfully so, and the other side said they hate turn-based glaze. You can guess what camp I fall into. I came in this expecting absolutely nothing. It felt like the praise was just a slow, creeping fever, and the gaming population, I just had to see what all the noise was about. Turns out if you want to make RPGs cool again, all you gotta do is add a dodge roll and a parry option. And while I haven't beaten Claire yet, I spent nearly an hour perfect dodging the GOAT boss while I was under level because the rhythm was that damn addicting. It's incredibly flashy with substance which isn't a common combination. It's a story that is easy to sink your teeth into and to feel the emotional gravity of from the very beginning. I hate repeating myself and echoing too many of the same sentiments for so many games here, but damn is this game beautiful. If I could describe the aesthetic of this game with 2 words, I'd probably say magically meaningful. Everywhere feels like a place where once were. Beautiful vacant lands of a forgotten time, filled creatures beyond imagination. It's brilliant, and the fact that an indie studio did this puts AAA game devs to shame. Lies of P is one of the few Souls-likes I have ever played, and it does a lot of things right. It looks damn majestic, and I found myself more interested in the story than I thought that I would be. And while some things are much more fleshed out than your typical Souls experience, some other areas are quite linear. One being the maps, upside being you always know where you're going, downside being there isn't much to see. But what isn't poured into the map is what's poured into the bosses. And if you know me, you know I love my bosses. And while a couple of these bosses can feel like a smashing your head against a brick wall, I was always satisfied to vanquish any boss I tackled in the game. Romeo, in particular, being a standout fight. The hub world, magnifique. And while I have been generally positive on the game and do regard it well, it isn't exactly one I have been interested in completing again, and I think what it boils down to is it's hard to know what the intended experience of the game is. Difficulty is always a matter of contention in these games, and I found myself not only not knowing why I was hit, but how are you intended to react to enemies, and that is never fun. If you don't believe the hitboxes are ridiculous, give this video a watch. I was happy to realize that it wasn't just me. All in all, I would recommend this game. I just feel like if you're a huge Elden Ring fan, you might enjoy this a lot more than I did. Persona 4 Golden was my very first Persona game, and to me, every Persona I played after was just playing catch up. While the series never became awful by any stretch of the imagination, none were packaged as seamlessly as this. It's a great Persona to start with if you want to get into the franchise. The cast is diverse and well defined. You are surely going to find a couple of characters you can identify with, if not personas. The gameplay is as addicting as well as challenging, and the story of this game is what pulled me into its orbit. One way or another, or all in my case, this game will make you a Persona fan. It also doesn't hurt that it has the best music of any Persona game. Demon's Souls showed me what an inverted version of Dark Souls 3 looks like. The greatest challenge in Dark Souls 3 is the bosses. The greatest challenge in Demon's Souls is the hateful ass maps. And while initially that stunted my appreciation of the game, I'd grow to appreciate it the most. It's actually rather eye-opening to look at the evolution of these games from this perspective. Ending my journey on the very first, it's almost an abyss or chasm because after playing this game I became interested in Kingsfield. I never knew how far back the formula went until I beat this game. This game takes disempowering the player to a new level. Enemies are faster with so many options while you seem stuck playing DS1. Bosses are more gimmick puzzles than challenges for the most parts, and Flame Lurker being an extreme exception. I know it may seem almost like a disparaging review, but new and interesting ways of maintaining difficulty is a draw for Soulsborne games. So if I talk at length about how difficult something is probably because these games train us to be masochists searching for greater challenges. And Elden Ring is the greatest example. And while I'm not tempted to dive into New Game Plus as that is a goddamn mess, Demon's Souls still holds up as a great experience. And for my last favorite game of the year, I've got to go with Marvel Cosmic Alliance. This only came out around December, but it's probably the best beat 'em up I played that year. It's always something coming in the last month that's like one of the best things to come out for the year. But Marvel Cosmic Alliance is, a goddamn good beat 'em up. I said this shit last year about Streets of Rage. But this year, while I appreciated the way Streets of Rage approached art design and their music and the visual aspect of things, I really fucking enjoy the gameplay of this one. Because there's so many goddamn characters in this game that just feel like beasts. Iron Man, that's who my main was. Iron Man, Wolverine, those characters is probably where I centered on most of the time. But yeah, if you just want to play, kick back, play a game really quickly, you know, that doesn't require much thought, you know, just a simple beat 'em up, this is the one. At least that was the one for 2025. But it only came out at the end of the year, so yeah, it's probably going to be yours for 2026 if you haven't played it yet. But yeah, Marvel Cosmic Alliance, great beat 'em up. I love that game. Okay, now's the time for the part of the video where I get all fucking negative and talk about the shit that I really fucking hated this year. And it's a very bitter pill to swallow because it's a game that I liked for a while and I tried to see the good in. But goddamn, it's goddamn Dead by Daylight, bro. Delete the game. If you haven't deleted the game, delete the game. I am its strongest hater at this point. Delete it. Remove it from your fucking console. Remove it from your fucking computer. There is so much more amusing and fun things to play and exciting and new experiences that don't involve the constant toxicity and mess that behavior make for themselves. They are facilitating in an environment where it is literally a loop of misery that the players are forced to feed into. Just leave. Just leave, bro. And I'm being as honest when I say this. There's so much more fun things to be playing. So much more fun games. And so many more game developers and games that don't want to waste your time like they do with us. Let it go. Man, I don't know, man. Read a fucking book. Honestly. At this point, do anything other than play Dead by Daylight. You want to know why I haven't uploaded for however long? That's probably fucking why. I've been in a fucking crisis about that goddamn game. But I'm done with it now. I mean, what else is there to say about that? Like, what else? Tell me, like, I want anyone to be able to tell me, other than, you know, however so often you get a very fun team, a very wholesome moment or whatever the fuck. What is keeping you playing this game? And I'll gladly read every single comment. But I need to know, because at this point for me, I would like to come back to the game. I would like to be excited about it. I'd like to continue to play it because this had so many goddamn experiences that were so fucking awesome to me. I got clips on videos of the coolest shit imaginable happening in a fucking social 4-player asymmetrical horror game. Places that you would just never expect to see things that we do on a frequent basis. But I don't have a reason to keep playing the game. And for me to get so far as to nearly prestige 100 a character, something I've been working for, you know, for a while playing the game, and just to get here and say, yeah, I don't think this is actually really worth it. And it's really fucking sad, honestly. But DBD ran over. It's been like fucking 4 minutes of that. Let me talk about something else. Those are my best and worst games. Well, game of 2025. I didn't even expect to go on as long as I did. And I didn't even say everything that I wanted to, honestly. But it's best we keep that as short and unpleasant as it was. But thank you for watching. What were your best games of 2025? Hell, what were your worst games of 2025? Do you still like DBD? What games here? What games should have been here? What games you fucking disagree with? You think are just fucking trash? Let me know what the hell you think, and I'll see you guys next time.